राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and pranams. Thank you very much for joining in for our Krishna book study session today. Let's start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopikumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pankajanaಭಾಯ Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Devadeva Jagatpate Nanyam Tvadabhyam Pashe Yatra Mrityu Parasparam Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvameko Dhayyamananam Apavargosi Samshrutehe Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादि पश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्या नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः. पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते. तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं. हरिः ओं तत्सत्. आजानुलम्बितौ भुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वाम्बरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ. आराध्य भगवान् ब्रजेशतनया सद्धाम वृन्दावनं रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधूवर्गेण वा कल्पिता. श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेमा पुमर्तो महान्. श्रीचैतन्यमहाप्रभोर्मतमिदं तत्र धरनापर. आई दीनदयाद्रनाथ है मथुरानाथ कथा अवलोक्यसे हृदयं त्वदलोकगातरं दैत्यभ्राम्यति किं करोम्यहम्. Hare Krishna. So let's continue with chapter number 75. So we saw yesterday how Krishna killed Shishupal, right? Because Shishupal was blaspheming Krishna, and there's this wonderful Rajasuya sacrifice where Agraha Puja was decided in the entire assembly. It was decided that Krishna should be receiving the first Agra Puja, right? As suggested by Sahadev, right? And Shishupal was continuously blaspheming and talking like a mad person, right? He was not coherent in his speech actually, because he was saying, this assembly has got great sages, great demigods who have great capabilities, but yet he was not willing to accept the decision of that particular assembly. So like that, he blasphemed Lord Krishna 100 times, it is said, right? And then to maintain the peace in that particular atmosphere, Krishna actually killed Shishupal. And in this way, this wonderful Rajasuya Yajna was completed. And then Krishna decided, okay, now I will go back to Dwarka. But we find that at the end of the Rajasuya Yajna, Duryodhana felt very insulted, right? Generally, people were very envious, right? Duryodhana was given the seva service, right? Everybody was invited for the Rajasuya Yajna. He was given the service to collect all the gifts, right? The more the Pandavas got gifts, the more our Duryodhana is feeling very envious, right? So when always somebody who's envious, he cannot think well for others, right? And in such a consciousness, whatever good things he may get, he will only compare with others and think, why am I getting less? Why that person is getting more, right? There's a proverb in Tamil that means, even if you have little, if you are satisfied by it, we will be happy. But if you're not satisfied, then even if we get the Brahmaloka, we'll still feel, oh, why am I not getting something better than that? Right? So in that way, we feel that we understand here, end of the Rajasuya Yajna, right? Duryodhana felt insulted, he was feeling envious, right? So we'll see the details of why Duryodhana was feeling insulted in this chapter of 75. Okay, Shobha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Yes, Mataji.
A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. A Krishna book, chapter 75, why Duryodhana felt insulted at the end of the Rajasuya sacrifice. King Yudhishthira was known as Ajata Shatru, or a person who had no enemy. Therefore, when all the men, demigods, kings, sages, and saints saw the successful termination of the Rajasuya Yajna performed by King Yudhishthira, they were very happy. That Duryodhana alone was unhappy was astonishing to Maharaja Parikshit, and therefore he requested Sukadeva Goswami to explain this. Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear King Parikshit, your grandfather, King Yudhishthira, was a great soul. His congenial disposition attracted everyone to be his friend, and therefore he was known as Ajata Shatru, one who never created an enemy. He engaged all the members of the Kuru dynasty in taking charge of different departments for the management of the Rajasuya sacrifice. For example, Bhimasena was put in charge of the kitchen department, Duryodhana in charge of the treasury department, Sadeva in charge of the reception department, Nakula in charge of the supplies department, and Arjuna in charge of looking after the comfort of the elderly persons. The most astonishing feature was that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took charge of washing the feet of all the incoming guests. The queen, the goddess of fortune, Draupadi, was in charge of administrating the distribution of food, and because Krsna was famous for giving charity, he was put in charge of the charity department. In this way, Satyaki, Vikarna, Hardrikya, Vidura, Sandhartana, and Bhurvisharasva, the son of Balika, were all engaged in the different departments for managing the affairs of the Rajasuya sacrifice. They were all so bound in loving affection for King Yudhishthira that they simply wanted to please him. After Shishupala died in the mercy of Lord Krishna and merged into the spiritual existence. And after the end of the Rajasuya Yajna, when all the friends, guests, and well-wishers had been fully honored and rewarded, King Yudhishthira went to bathe in the Ganges. The city of Hastinapura stands today on the bank of the Yamuna, and the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam that King Yudhishthira went to bathe in the Ganges indicates, therefore, that during the time of Pandavas, the river Yamuna was also known as the Ganges. While the king was taking the Avabhrita bath, different musical instruments vibrated, such as mridangas, conch shells, panava drums, kettle drums, and bugles, and ankle bells of the dancing girls jingled. Many group of professional singers sang as veenas, flutes, gongs, and cymbals were played, and thus a tumultuous sound vibrated in the sky. The priestly guests from many kingdoms like Srinjaya, Kamboja, Kuru, Kekaya, and Koshala were present, with different flags and gorgeously decorated elephants, chariots, horses, and soldiers. All of them passed in a procession with King Yudhishthira in the forefront. The executive members who had performed the sacrifice, the priests, religious ministers, and Brahmanas all loudly chanted the Vedic hymns. The demigods and the inhabitants of the Pitraloka and Gandharvaloka, as well as many sages, showered flowers from the sky. The men and women of Hastinapura or Indraprastha, their bodies smeared with scents and floral oils, were nicely dressed in colorful garments and decorated with garlands, jewels, and ornaments. Enjoying the ceremony, they threw on one another liquid substances like water, oil, milk, butter, and yogurt. Some even smeared these on each other's body. In this way, they enjoyed the occasion. The professional prostitutes jubilantly smeared their liquid substances on the body of the men, and the men reciprocated in the same way. All the liquid substances had been mixed with turmeric and saffron, and their color was a lustrous yellow. In order to observe the great ceremony, many wives of the demigods have come in different airplanes, and they were visible in the sky. Similarly, the queens of the royal family, gorgeously decorated and surrounded by bodyguards, arrived on the different palanquins. During this time, Lord Krishna, the maternal cousin of the Pandavas, and his special friend Arjuna were both throwing the liquid substances on the bodies of their queens. The queens became bashful, but at the same time, their beautiful smiling brightened their faces. Because of the liquid thrown on their bodies, the saris covering them become completely wet. The different parts of their beautiful bodies, particularly their breast and their waist, become partially visible because of the wet cloth. The queens brought buckets of the same liquid substances and with syringes sprinkled them on the bodies of their brother-in-laws. As they engaged in such jubilant activities, their hair fell loose and the flowers decorating their bodies began to fall. When Lord Krishna, Arjuna, and the queens were thus engaged in these jubilant activities, persons who were not clean in heart were agitated by lustrous desires. In other words, such behavior between pure males and females is enjoyable, but it makes persons who are materially contaminated becomes lustful. King Yudhishthira in a gorgeous chariot yoked to excellent horses was present there along with his queens, including Draupadi, and their features were so beautiful that it appeared as if the great Rajasuya sacrifice was standing there in person, along with the different functions of the sacrifice. Following the Rajasuya sacrifice, there was a Vedic ritualistic duty known as Patni Samyaja. This sacrifice, which one performs along with one's wife, was also duly conducted by the priests of the King Yudhishthira. As Queen Draupadi and King Yudhishthira were taking their avabhrita bath, the citizens of the Hastinapura as well as the demigods began to beat on drums and blow trumpets out of feelings of happiness. And there was a shower of flowers from the sky. When the king and the queen finished their bath in the Ganges, all other citizens consisting of all the varnas or castes, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, took their bath in the Ganges. Bathing in the Ganges is recommended in the Vedic literatures because by bathing one is freed from all sinful reactions. This is still current in India, especially at particularly auspicious moments. At such times, millions of people bathe in the Ganges. After taking his bath, King Yudhishthira, dressed in a new silken cloth and
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Dhanad Pranam. Okay, so what I wanted to discuss here, two, three very important points, right? This is mostly, how they enjoyed, right? After completion of the Rajasuya Yajna, everybody was happy that such a great Yajna got completed. And then there is this Patni, along with the wife, there is a ceremony where they go and take bath in the Ganges, like that, right? So, a very important point Prabhupada is making here. One is kamastasya hrita jnana, right? That means when the heart is filled with material desires, then we want to worship the devatas. Then whatever we see, right? As long as Radhanath Chamaraj was mentioning in one of the classes, that whatever glasses we wear, right? If we wear yellow color glasses, even if there is very nice greenery outside, it will all look like yellow color, right? It will look like, they are all rotting like that. Why? Because the vegetation is green and it is, it is lustrous and it is growing. But if we have a yellow color glass or a red color glass, then we will see that, everything is red or everything is yellow. So how we see things depends on our own consciousness, right? That's what is mentioned here, right? That those who are lusty will see everything with a lusty thought. So this is also, we can also introspect ourselves, right? So if we are feeling such lusty thoughts, then we should not be reading these chapters, right? Of course, at the sadhaka stage, we are not supposed to read these very exotic, the last 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But just because Srila Prabhupada has given us this opportunity in the Krishna book, we are quickly going through this, right? This is just a summary study of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But if you are feeling lusty, then what we can just skip these portions, right? That's what we can do, right? Because our heart is filled with lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, right? Our mind goes to all the wrong things, right? Just like the fly goes to the stool all the time, but a bee always goes to honey, right? So in our heart, we know, right, what kind of purification we have. So according to that, we can focus on what we want to read and what we can avoid, right? Because we know we know ourselves the best, right? Secondly, another point that I wanted to make a mention here is. Generally, bathing in the Ganges is recommended in the Vedic scriptures, right? So this bathing, like even in Deepavali time, we ask, have you done Ganga Snan, like that, right? But we are taking bath at our home in Mumbai and Delhi and etc., right? Where we are, of course, if you are able to go and take bath in the Ganges or in the Yamuna, right? If you are in that particular place, we're able to do it, that is best. Otherwise, even in the taking bath at home, we can do Ganga Snan every day. Right? Gange che Yamune cheva Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Godavari Saraswati Jale Yasmin Sannidhim Kuru. Right? In this way, we can invoke all of the holy rivers in our bucket of water or in our mug of water. Right? With our thumb, with our middle finger. Right? We can make circles and then we can invoke the holy rivers. Right? And in that way, when we take bath, then it is actually amounting to Ganga Snan. It is actually amounting to taking bath in all of these holy rivers, right? It is very purifying, right? We know what it is to take bath in the Ganges or in the Yamuna, right? Because the waters, right? Ganges is from the lotus feet of Vamana Dev, right? When Vamana Dev actually placed his second foot on the sky, right, to capture the heavenly planets. That time, from the toenail, right, it pricked the skies, and then the Ganges came down, right? There are several things that I mentioned, right? How King Bhagirath also brought the Ganges down, right? There are so many. That's why, and from the Janu Muni's Kamandala also it came. That's why Ganges is also called Janvi. So several yugas and several pastimes are there. How Ganges came down, right? So, but in all cases, Ganges came from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva took it on his jata because the force could not be handled by Bhumi Mata. So Lord Shiva took it on his head. So such Ganges is so pure. Ganges is so powerful. Ganges is so purifying. And Yamuna, of course, there's no difference between Ganges and Yamuna as much as there's no difference between Mayapur Dham and Vrindavan Dham, right? Yamuna is where Krishna performed so many pastimes, right? Kaliya pastime and so many other pastimes in the banks of Yamuna. Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari, right? So in the banks of the Yamuna and in the Yamuna river, right? Krishna has performed so many pastimes. So it is purifying to invite those holy rivers as we take bath in our home, right? So in that way, we also purify ourselves. We purify our consciousness. And when we are, and we generally have a bath in the morning and then we are going to chant Hare Krishna. So our external body also gets cleansed when we are taking bath with the holy rivers. And then our internal consciousness also gets purified when we chant Hare Krishna. So like that, we can purify ourselves every day in the morning. We will not wait for any specific occasion to do it. All right, let's move ahead. Moshmi Mataji, go ahead. After taking his bath?
After taking his bath, King Yudhishthira, dressed in a new silken cloth and wrapper, and decorated himself with valuable jewelry. The king not only dressed himself and decorated himself, but also gave clothing and ornaments to all the priests and the others who had participated in the yagna. In this way, he worshipped them all. He constantly worshipped his friends, his family members, his relatives, his well wishers, and everyone present. And because he was a Vaishnava, a great devotee of Lord Narayan, he knew how to treat everyone well. The Mayavadi philosophers endeavor to see everyone as a god is an artificial uh, attempt at attempt at oneness, but a Vaishnava or a devotee of Lord Narayana sees every living entity as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, a Vaishnava's treatment of other living entities is on the absolute platform. As one cannot treat one part of his body differently from another part, because they all belong to the same body. Vaishnava does not see a human being as as distinct from an animal, because in both he sees the soul and the super soul seated together. When everyone was refreshed after bathing and was dressed in silken cloths with jeweled earring, flowers, garlands, turban, long wallpapers, and pearl necklaces, they looked all together. Uh, they looked all together like the demigods from heaven. This was especially true of the women who were very nicely dressed. Each wore a golden belt around the waist. They were all smiling, smiling. Uh, please, smiling.
With spots of tilak.
Uh, uh, please take it up. Smiling and spots of tilak, tilak and curling hair scattered here and there. This combination was very attractive.
Okay.
Though,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, so we see here that everybody is in a celebratory mood, right? And generally, women like to dress up, right? We also see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4 also how Sati Devi, right? When this Daksha was conducting this yajna, right? Everybody, including Sati and all her sisters and all of them, they were all dressed very nicely and they were going for this participation in this yajna. So in this case also we see here after the yajna also people dress themselves, especially women dress themselves very nicely, right? And one more important point, what is mentioned here is Yudhishthira Maharaj not only dressed himself up and his family members, but he also gave charity, right? That is very important for a Vaishnava, right? For a Grahastha, right? Especially for a householder. This is very, very important. Even in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that charity is one of the most important activity of a householder or a grahastha, because when we give charity, what happens? We become detached, right? If we give offer charity of money, right, then we become detached to the money that we've earned, after working very hard, right? When we become detached by offering this in the service of the Lord, then automatically we will develop attachment for Krishna, right? It works both ways, right? When we perform charity, we become detached to the money that we've acquired by hard work, right? With integrity, with sincerity, whatever hard work we have earned money, and we are utilizing that money in providing charity to others, right? In providing Annadan, right? In providing, in distributing Krishna Prasadam, or in distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, right? The best charity That happens, we will automatically become attracted to Krishna because we're engaging in devotional service, and also will become detached to Maya. Because if you are giving away money in charity, right? Of course, you should not give away money as money. We should give in the form of either Krishna Prasadam, or we need to give in the form of books, like that. So that, the Desha, Kala and Patra, right? That has to also be proper, right? That we have to give charity to the right person at the right time and at the right circumstance. Only then it is beneficial for the giver of charity and for the receiver of charity also, right? Like in Bhagavad Gita, there's a very detailed description. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, how according to the right time and right place and the right person, we need to give charity so that it is beneficial to both. So like that, here also Yudhishthira Maharaj gave a lot of clothing, and of course there's wonderful Krishna Prasadam at the end of all of the sacrifices, right? And in this way the yajna was successful, and after the yajna also there was a nice celebratory mood where everything is done in the mode of goodness, right? When charity is given, and when when everybody come together to for the pleasure of the Lord, right? This yajna itself, the first offering was done to Lord Sri Krishna. So the yajna itself was for the pleasure of the Lord. So everything as a result of the yajna also is pleasing to the Lord, right? Yajnatat karmana anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. When we are performing yajnas for the pleasure of the Lord, everything is successful. Some said there haritoshanam. Otherwise, everything becomes shrama evahi kevalam, useless labor, like that. Okay, Anita Mataji, go ahead. Those persons who had participated in the Rajasuya sacrifice, you can read, and then Leela Nandini Mataji chapter. Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Those persons who had participated in the Rajasuya sacrifice, including the most cultured priests, the Brahmanas who had assisted, the citizens of all the Varnas, and the kings, demigods, sages, saints, and citizens of Pitraloka were all very much satisfied by the dealings of King Yudhishthira, and at the end they happily departed for their residences. While returning to their homes, they talked of the dealings of King Yudhishthira, and even after continuous talk of his greatness, they were not satiated, just as one may drink nectar over and over again and never be satisfied. After the departure of all the others, Maharaja Yudhishthira restrained the inner circle of his friends, including Lord Krishna, not allowing them to leave. Lord Krishna could not refuse the request of the king. Krishna therefore sent back all the heroes of the Yadu dynasty, Samba and others. All of them returned to Dwaraka, and Lord Krishna personally remained to give pleasure to the king. In the material world, everyone has a particular type of desire to be fulfilled, but one is never able to fulfill his desires to his full satisfaction. But King Yudhishthira, because of his unflinching devotion to Krishna, could fulfill all his desires successfully by the performance of the Rajasuya sacrifice. From the description of the Rajasuya Yajna, such a function appears to be a great ocean of opulent desires. Such an ocean is not possible for an ordinary man to cross. Nevertheless, by the grace of Lord Krishna, King Yudhishthira was able to cross it very easily, and thus he became freed from all anxieties. When Duryodhana saw that Maharaj Yudhishthira had become very famous after performing the Rajasuya Yajna and was fully satisfied in every respect, he began to burn with the fire of envy because his mind was always poisonous. For one thing, he envied the imperial palace constructed by the demon Maya for the Pandavas. The palace was excellent in its puzzling artistic workmanship and was befitting the position of great princes, kings, or leaders of the demons. In that great palace, the Pandavas lived with their family members, and Queen Draupadi served her husbands very peacefully. And because in those days Lord Krishna was also there, the palace was also decorated by his thousands of queens. When the queens, with their heavy breast and thin waist, moved within the palace, and their ankle bells rang very melodiously with their movement, the whole palace appeared more opulent than the heavenly kingdom. Because a portion of their breasts was sprinkled with saffron powder, the pearl necklaces on their breasts appeared reddish. With their beautiful earrings and flowing hair, the queens appeared very attractive. After seeing such beauties in the palace of King Yudhishthira, Duryodhana was envious. He was especially envious and lustful upon seeing the beauty of Draupadi because he had cherished a special attraction for her from the very beginning of her marriage with the Pandavas. In the marriage selection assembly of Draupadi, Duryodhana had also been present, and along with other princes, he had been very much captivated by the beauty of Draupadi, but he had failed to achieve her. Once upon a time, King Yudhishthira was sitting Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Tanad Pranam. So we see here that, envy, wherever envy is there, there cannot be satisfaction, right? Just like Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar, jahan Krishna, tahan nahi hai Maya or Adhikar, right? Where Krishna is there, Maya cannot be there. Like that, where lust and envy is there, there cannot be satisfaction and happiness, right? So also, although Duryodhana was invited for the very wonderful Rajasuya Yajna, he was given some services also. He also enjoyed along with everybody else who was present there, isn't it? But because he was envious, because he could not take it, that how is it that, so many wonderful things are happening for Yudhishthira Maharaj. Why is it that I am not able to do? I am not, I. When I become the center of all of our thoughts, and what happens? Even if we get the entire world, we will still be looking at the others. Ishavasam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita magrada kasya svidanam. Right? The first verse, it talks about how Ishavasam idam sarvam. Everything is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whatever we acquire, whatever we have, right, under our care, is according to our previous desires and our previous karmas, our previous actions. So we should be happy with what we have and utilize it in the service of the Lord, rather than thinking what the other person has. And in this way, when we want to get what the other person has, and we are creating more trouble, we are creating more problems for ourselves, right? In that envious attitude, we're only creating more and more problems for ourselves. That is why Duryodhana was also enjoying along with everybody, but he still could not have that peace of mind. He could not enjoy, right? Because of this lust and because of this envious attitude that he had, right? Okay, so let's request our Leela Nandini Mataji. Yes, Mataji, you can complete the chapter. Go ahead. Once upon a time.
Hey Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Once upon a time, a King Yudhishthira was sitting on his golden throne in the palace constructed by the demon Maya. His 4 brothers and other relatives, as well as his great well-wisher Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were present, and the material opulence of King Yudhishthira seemed no less than that of Lord Brahma. When he was sitting on the throne, surrounded by his friends, and the reciters were offering prayers to him in the form of nice songs, Duryodhana came to the palace with his younger brothers. Duryodhana was decorated with a helmet, and he carried a sword in his hand. He was always in an envious and angry mood, and therefore on a slight provocation he spoke sharply with the doorkeepers and became angry. By the craftsmanship of the demon Maya, the palace was so decorated in different places that one who did not know the tricks would consider water to be land and land to be water. Duryodhana was illusioned by his foolishness. Duryodhana was illusioned by his craftsmanship, and when crossing water, thinking it to be land, he fell in. When Duryodhana, out of his foolishness, had thus fallen, the queens enjoyed the incident by laughing. King Yudhishthira could understand the feelings of Duryodhana, and he tried to restrain the queens, but Lord Sri Krishna indicated that King Yudhishthira should not restrain them from enjoying the incident. Krishna decided that Duryodhana be fooled in that way, and that all of them enjoy his foolish behavior. When everyone laughed, Duryodhana felt very insulted, and his bodily hair stood up in anger. Being thus insulted, he immediately left the palace, bowing his head. He was silent and did not protest. When Duryodhana left in such an angry mood, everyone regretted the incident. And King Yudhishthira also was very sorry. But despite all these occurrences, Krishna was silent. He did not say anything against or in favor of the incident. It appeared that Duryodhana had been put into illusion by the supreme will of Lord Sri Krishna. And this was the beginning of the enmity between the two sects of Kuru dynasty. This appeared to be a part of Krishna's plan in his mission to decrease the burden of the world. King Parishit had inquired from Sukadeva Goswami why Duryodhana was not satisfied after the termination of the great Rajasuya sacrifice, and thus it was explained by Sukadeva Goswami. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 75th chapter of Krishna, why Duryodhana felt insulted at the end of the Rajasuya sacrifice. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you, Haribol.
Krishna, thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So even if nothing of this had happened, he was already envious, he was already not satisfied, right? So Duryodhana only needed a reason, and Krishna wanted to provide him that reason, so that he may become more vehement, because yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam rajamyaham. right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge, right? Because Duryodhana was so envious and so lusty, and he was creating so much of problems, right? Krishna was actually trying to expedite this, right? Expedite this by increasing the enmity, right? In one of the serials, Mahabharata serial also, they showed that, right? Father is also blind, the son is also blind, like that. Some comment also they passed or something like that. I don't know how far it is true. Prabhupada at least is not mentioned here, but all these things Krishna allowed it, right? Because Krishna wanted Duryodhana to feel insulted, right? So that he goes back and then he tries how to take revenge, right? In that way, this war of Kurukshetra takes place soon, and in this way, all the adharmic people will be destroyed at the end of the war. And of course, Krishna also went to check out, right? If Duryodhana was willing to give 5 villages land also for the Yudhishthira's to rule, because they are Kshatriyas, they need land to rule, right? So in that way, Krishna also went as a Shanti Dut. Krishna did not leave any stone unturned to even give the right guidance to Duryodhana. But Duryodhana was hell-bent upon not giving anything to Pandavas because he wanted everything for himself. And when somebody was not willing to budge at all, there was no way that even Lord Sri Krishna could avoid the war, like that fratricidal war, it was said, right? War between the brothers. So in this way, we see here that, Duryodhana, who always felt insulted, who always felt himself inadequate, right? Now was actually, by the grace of the Lord, he was going back to Hastinapura. This is Indraprastha. He's going back, but he's feeling very insulted. He's having a revengeful attitude. And now let's see what is his plan now, right? And everything is happening according to the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. We'll quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. So we have 17 devotees. Well, I would request devotees to switch on your cameras. And quickly we'll do Harinam Sankirtan and our session today, right? Today we are ending 5 minutes early. So devotees should be happy. Every time the class goes on beyond 2 o'clock, Ramya Mataji is there today. I don't know if she's there. She at least tells that I have a class at 2 o'clock. You always go beyond time. So thank you very much. We'll do Harinam Sankirtan and we'll end our session. Devotees can switch on your cameras. We'll have nice Vaishnava Darshan today. Today is Tirubhav Tithi of Madhvacharya. Right? Madhvacharya, we are part of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Parampara. So we can pray the lotus feet of Madhvacharya. May our desire be only to serve, satisfy, and please Guru and Gauranga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually took Madhvacharya, this Parampara, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Parampara. And he took two. From the 4 bona fide paramparas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took two important points from each of the paramparas. So from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Parampara, Madhva Sampradaya, he took this one is to impersonalism, right? To fight against impersonalism or to defeat the Mayavadism and impersonalism concept. And secondly was to worship Krishna deity. Right? In the morning, we were discussing during the Brahma Muhurta session how Madhvacharya actually carved the deity form of Krishna from the sandalwood that a merchant was traveling and his ship was about to sink, and Madhvacharya helped him. And because of that, in gratitude, he gave the sandalwood. Right? In the sandalwood, he carved the deity of Krishna, and nobody else could carry it. Only Madhvacharya, who is the incarnation of Vayudev, right? Bhima, Hanumanji, they're all Madhvacharya, they're all very, very, of course, they are spiritually strong, and you're also very materially also strong in terms of carrying that entire log of sandalwood. Nobody, even it is said that many elephants also could not move that wood. Yeah? But our Madhvacharya took that log and he carved the beautiful form of Lord Sri Krishna, manifested out of that log, and that was actually established in Udupi. Right, and till today, the deities are being worshipped, right, by specific families. Right, there are specific families who are so pure, and they wait for their turn. Right, and they believe the turn comes once in 14 years or something like that. They wait for that time when they can serve and do the Archa Vigraha Seva for Lord Sri Krishna in Udupi. So in this way, these 2 points were taken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that impersonalism is to defeat the impersonalism concept, which was prevalent at that time, right? Madhvacharya actually defeated that, and also to establish the Archa Vigraha seva, right, or the worshipping the deity form of the Lord, right? Deity form of Lord Sri Krishna was taken from Madhva Sampradaya by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll do quickly to Harinam Sankirtan. Devotees can switch on your cameras. Amma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Vidvinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pradhanine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Yadi Sadhanine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Bhola Jai 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 Jagannath Jai Baladev Jai Jai Subhadra Jai Jai Sudarshan Jai Bala Gopal Jai Rukmini Vidya Jai Prahlad Jai Lakshmi Nrsimha Jai Radha Devi Hari Jai Radha Krishna Jai Radha Rasa Hari Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Radhe Radhe Jai Shri Radhe Jai Sadhu Swami Jai Guru Varanga Jai Prabhupada Jai Guru Deva Jai Guru Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा थैंक यू डिवोटीज थैंक यू मौसमी माताजी अर्चना माताजी अमृतमयी माताजी शोभा माताजी राजेश्वरी माताजी सर्वगोपेश्वरी माताजी प्रणव प्रभुजी अनुषा माताजी अनुराधा लीला माताजी चित्रा माताजी हरजीत माताजी रजनीश प्रभु Lila Nandini Mataji, okay, a lot of devotees have switched on their cameras today. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you devotees. Meet you all tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is Ramanujacharya's Tirobhav Tiri, I believe. 1 second. Is it appearance day or disappearance day? Actually, there's no difference between the appearance day and disappearance day. The Vaishnava Acharyas, they come to fulfill certain purposes, and once their purpose is over, then they go back to the spiritual world. Right? Tomorrow is Tirobhav Tidi of Sripad Ramanujacharya. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took 2 from Sri Sampradaya also. So we'll discuss tomorrow. So in this way, every day, every minute, every second is an opportunity to serve the Lord. And according to what decisions we take, according to our free will, we will land ourselves in our future destination. So we can keep this in mind. And this week especially, I hope everybody is taking part in the Panchatattva Seva Challenge, singing Navadvip Ashtakam, and all those wonderful activities that are prescribed and in that WhatsApp group. I hope all of you have registered and are doing those activities. So this week is very wonderful, right? Tomorrow is Sripad Ramanujacharya's Tirubhav Tidi. And then day after tomorrow is Ekadashi, Jaya Ekadashi. And after that is Dashami, Ekadashi, Navami. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Dwadashi is Varaha. Dwadashi, appearance of Varaha Dev. And then It is Nityananda Trayodashi. Very, very wonderful. The next 4 days, from the last 3 days, right from Advaita Acharya Appearance Day, we're having a very wonderful festive week. So we can do more and more chanting Hare Krishna. We can do more and more devotional service. And in this way, please our Acharyas and then attain our desired success of Krishna Prema with the causeless mercy of Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Meet you all tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock for the Brahma Murta chanting. And then meet you all at 1 p.m. We will continue chapter number 76 of the Krishna book with the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. Thank you.